Hey guys, want to welcome you to episode 24 of the Angry Advocate podcast. I'm Ed, the guitar player of Death's Hand and the owner of Advocate Media.
And hi everyone, welcome back. I am Ash, owner of Angry Ginger Photography. Super excited for this episode. I think it's now our fourth episode, if I'm not wrong, where we have mostly an entire band with us. So today we have The Flood with us.
How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Hello everyone.
How's it
How's
going?
everyone's Tuesday? Right? Yeah.
Feels like a Tuesday, that's for sure.
On event.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely summed up my Tuesday. Very slow, not very eventful, nothing really crazy going on. So,
Yeah.
other than this podcast, but that's about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, really excited to have you guys on. The full band podcasts are always fun, just because you kind of get to have multiple perspectives, especially from different people who play different instruments, and just like it's fun to see if different people have like different ideas of how the band runs, or there's so many little nuances about being in a band, and it's really fun to have everybody in the band in a room or on a screen talking about that stuff. So really excited to have you guys on here and kind of run through that process with you guys. So
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us, for sure.
Yes, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into question number one. How long has The Flood been a band, and how long have each of you been doing music?
What about 4 years now we've been playing out, I think.
Something like that.
We all actually, Brandon, Ian, and I, we've been playing music together since we were 12 years old.
Probably about 12, yeah.
He
That's
actually
crazy.
taught both of us how to play guitar.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joined up last year. We were actually just figuring it out before this
Yeah.
podcast because none of us were quite sure without consulting the internet.
Yeah.
It is our keeper.
Right. But yeah, I joined last year and I've been playing music live since I was middle school. So just found these guys last year though.
Nice.
Do you
That's
want to
awesome.
tell them how long ago middle school was?
Yeah, I have quite a few years on all of the rest of the band. None more than our drummer, who's not with us today. He's the baby of the group.
Oh, he is a baby.
Yes, 9/11 was not a thing for him.
Imagine that.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Yeah, doesn't that make you want to vomit?
Yeah,
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. That's
Holy.
crazy.
That's a weird concept. And where are you guys located?
Where?
Yeah, we're located in Ware.
A town called Ware, Massachusetts, actually.
That's awesome.
Oh, snap. Okay. I went to
Yeah.
college in Springfield area, so yes, exactly. Okay.
That's
yeah.
Ian and I live out that way currently.
That's
I'm in
wild. I
Worcester.
lived in Worcester. Damn. Yeah, I lived in Chicopee, Springfield, Longmeadow.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very sorry you had to.
I went to Bay
deal with
Path,
that.
so it was kind of I
Oh, wow.
I
Yikes.
played field hockey. It was the whole And now I ended up in New Hampshire. Wild enough.
That's
but-
funny.
Oh, that's much better.
That's super cool. And with with each of you like playing music for that long, do you guys like do most of you know multiple instruments? Are you just stuck with your one instrument, or is there anything that's kind of like different about what you guys play, other than, I mean, obviously in the band you play your specific instruments, but like, do you know anything else, or have you learned anything else in the path of like playing music?
I mean, just from having a drum kit at the house for jams and practices and stuff, I've picked that up a little bit. But as far as other instruments, not really. Maybe a keyboard here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dabble,
But
but
basic.
I'm the vocalist for another band, and I kind of started as a guitarist. These guys needed a bassist, and I'm serviceable. So
Can make it work. That's awesome.
That happens with bass sometimes. Sadly.
more often than it doesn't, I would say.
Yes, for sure. That's like, I know a lot of bands up here in Maine who have like just either don't have one or can't find one, or like have guitar players that end up just switching over to play bass just because there's not a lot of bass players that either play or not a lot of decent bass players that can play. So it's like this thing where it's like, yeah, hopefully you can find somebody and we'll just throw them in there. But yeah, it happens.
Find someone without shame.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah.
that's fun.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, when I joined, there was 5 guitarists that we all had to decide
Yeah,
to play
basically.
separate instruments so that we would have a full band and not 5 guitars.
Yeah, yeah.
Valid.
Yeah, it can be difficult. I play both drums and guitar. Drums is actually my main instrument, and I've been playing that the longest. Guitar is actually my second, so I'm actually better at drums than guitar. But I've just been I've been liking playing guitar lately, and yeah, it's just something I want to stick with for a little while. And I am in the process of doing a side project, which will be fun on drums, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, guitars. So many people play guitar. It's really easy to kind of find a lot of people that play. But like you said, if you have a bunch of people that all play, deciding who gets to play what or who does what is probably a little difficult. But sacrifices have to be made sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome. Question 2. Who are some of your biggest musical influences as the band and then individually?
Hmm.
As a band,
Musically, it'd be hard not to say Killswitch and Parkway are huge influences on the sound. That's for sure. Like earlier Parkway for sure.
and
Absolutely.
probably Darkest Hour.
Darkest Hour, yeah,
Yep.
that comes through quite a bit. I've had a few people say Counterparts.
Yeah. Okay.
We got a little bit of like punk rock kind of posty influences in some of our stuff, a lot of chords and whatnot. So
Awesome.
And then yeah, what about like individually? Do you have like any or specifically like each of you have someone that you're kind of more fond of that doesn't mesh with what you do, or
I love Every Time I Die. I was very sad over the past several years, so that's where I'm coming from.
yeah.
That's valid.
As far as bands that don't, I don't know. It's tough because you said Every Time I Die, but like one of my bigger influences is probably the Dillinger Escape Plan. I listened to a lot of that, like CDs front to back when we were delivering pizzas. I probably listened to Miss Machine like 1,000 times.
shit, I think that was when I was going through like reggae and hip hop phase there. I didn't even listen to metal at all. Then you're like, hey, this band Rings of Saturn exists. And what the fuck is this?
That's the best way to discover music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So for like my weird influence would be like Streetlight Manifesto.
nice. Love ska.
Mhm.
Wasn't really too into like playing leads until I started like kind of following the saxophone and like all their trumpet stuff. That's kind of how I got into that.
Hmm.
And,
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that about you.
yeah.
We're still learning things every day.
Through this podcast, we've met like several people that do different things. Like I play saxophone. We learned a member of Shape Thrower plays trombone. Ed does drums. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
end up starting a ska band without even like
Fuck
trying
yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Very
that was-
first musical project was a ska band. Yeah.
yeah. I freaking love ska. It's like one of my it's one of my favorites. I think it's
Oh,
it,
and we should give a shout out. Green Street Fiends,
Oh,
our
yeah.
homies.
Army of Darkness.
Scarmy of Darkness, other homies from Massachusetts,
Oh,
doing
yeah.
some hardcore ska,
that's
Doom
awesome.
Hell yeah.
doom ska.
That's
Pretty
sick.
sure
Getting along and playing a trombone.
that just that amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Check them
That's
out.
awesome.
They're fucking awesome. Good
Yeah,
dudes.
I definitely will have to, because that's, I don't know. It's interesting that you said that like you kind of got into leads based off of like horn sections. Like that totally makes sense. Like
Yeah.
totally makes sense. I never really thought about that, but like one of the best things about ska is definitely the horn sections and the lead parts that they have, because like that's kind of how you like a lot of people dance to a lot of that like ska music, and it's specifically because of the horn sections and like the hooks that they make. So that totally makes sense that like your process of maybe like starting to learn leads or wanting to play leads came from that. That's really cool. That's actually a really cool thing to learn. That's interesting. That's rad. Yeah, we'll jump into question number 3. Best show experience so far, either as a band or if you guys had other experiences individually in different bands or anything like that.
I feel like this is a pretty unanimous decision.
Well, do you mean like the most eclectic, like weird show we've played, or like the most rewarding show?
How about both?
Yeah, how about both?
I'll do
Yeah,
both.
yeah,
Like-
yeah. I mean, because everybody's gonna take that show experience kind of differently, right? So like it could be like, oh, the best show we ever played, or it could be the most interaction you had from a crowd in a certain show. Like, I mean, you can interpret that however you want, really.
But
So-
the least interaction.
So
Yeah.
the most rewarding show, I think, I will answer for us. The most rewarding show is our most recent show when we played at the All Shall Perish show at the Palladium.
Hell
was
yeah.
500 people, and it was like I was shaking, Derek was shaking, I was like on the verge of
Were you
throwing
downstairs?
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
That's cool.
it was
Congratulations. Holy
crazy.
shit.
It was
Like
nuts.
people were crowd surfing. We've never experienced that before. People were actually interacting in the pit. I was getting crowd interaction as the vocalist, and I was just like, this is what actually playing. It was like our first
Yeah.
big experience of like playing a show with people interacting, yelling words back to us. It was very, very rewarding.
Oh,
That's
I
cool.
just had chills. Amazing.
Yeah.
And like you guys are
Completely different than
like, where-
upstairs.
Oh yeah, standing on those subs and just looking out.
Oh my god, sea of
See?
people for us.
and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like you said, you're from where in Worcester. Like that's like the bit. Yeah, no, that's like full circle. That's amazing.
hmm
Yeah,
That's
we all grew up going to that place, which was longer for me, yes. But I've been going there since I was 13, and to get to walk around on the stage because I was supposed to be there instead of just stealing a chance and jumping off it was much nicer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure. That's definitely a place that I'd like to play sometime in the near future. That would be fun, for sure. But that's super
Hell
cool. That's awesome. You guys had that experience. I'm sure it's got to be crazy. Like I played in one of my older bands. We opened up for All That Remains in a venue up here in Maine, which was a very similar situation. It wasn't as packed because it wasn't like prime All That Remains, like when they were like really, really big. It's a little bit later in their time period. But like the show was super cool, and like being on a big stage and like subwoofers, and like you're looking down on people and crazy lights and all this stuff is like definitely it definitely is cool. It's a big rush, and yeah, it definitely feels crazy.
I've never had that much room to run around on stage before. That was the biggest thing I took from it. Like I could actually move. Still, Derek and I managed to run into each other. I couldn't avoid him, but it was just so much room for activities.
Yeah, it
That's
was the
funny.
first time I've run out of mic cable on a stage.
Yeah,
I
know.
couldn't get to
I
the
was thinking
second
about it
subwoofer.
before
I
the
was
set. I'm
like,
like,
God damn it.
Thing on this, but- yeah, I mean, you those times we play the upstairs and we're looking down at the big stage, like, if we ever play that, like, how are we going to take up that much space?
Yeah, you don't know what to do with yourself with your hands.
I'm sure. Yeah, you just like I don't know what's going on. I'm sure. I bet that's super nerve-wracking for sure.
But
I
our
think-
most eclectic experience, would you like to?
Bill's Bar.
Bill's Bar.
So we got it. It was right when we first started. We got an email that was like, "Do you want to play in Boston at this place called Bill's?" And we're
I
like,
would. It is that bar. Holy shit. Okay, I'm ready.
all right, so we're all excited, and they're like, "Oh, we'll have tickets for you to sell and stuff." We're like, "Oh my god!" Like
Right
we gotta
outside
sell tickets.
Fenway. This is crazy. It's
This
in
is going to
Boston.
be the sickest show ever. It was called the Sounds of Summerfest, and we kind of thought at first, like, "Are we a Sound of Summer?" This doesn't really make sense to begin with. So we go out, we're all excited. There's like 8 bands or something. They all play a short set. And they threw us at the end of it. This band before us was like a college frat band, like did Jimi Hendrix covers and had, suits and everything.
It was like a dad rock cover band.
Total dad rock.
All right.
But the place is packed wall to wall with like polos and sundresses, like full on college kids. So we get up, we sound check, and we're getting ready. And Brandon goes, "Everyone having a good time?" Oh, place goes crazy. They're happy, loving it. And goes, "That's gonna change." By the end of the first song, it went from 70 people to 7.
And it was just like people we knew. It was like girlfriends and yeah, everyone
We
paid their
cleared
tab
the fucking place.
and left.
That's awesome.
It was sick.
It was
So, like, did they look you up thinking you were a different band? That
I don't know what they thought because we've gotten 4 or 5 offers since from the same place.
Yeah.
We should do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's
I
do it.
swear,
Yeah.
there's someone that's there that just like, I want this kind of music here, and I'm gonna make it happen
Yeah.
no matter what. And I'm making the mix still happen.
I'll go back and clear out the bar again.
Yeah.
Hey,
Move
let
the
me
eggs
know if
around.
you guys play there. I would love to see the freaking a show there. Holy
That
cow!
sounds crazy.
right.
It is a really nice venue. The sound
a-
system was sick.
Yeah,
but
like
it
that
would be,
has that place has history. That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, we should go again. Fuck it.
So
Yeah.
time out,
next
time
email,
out,
we're
time
gonna
out.
reply.
If you guys go and play, can Death's Hand come and play with you?
We'll make it happen.
We'll see what we can do. Yeah.
That would be sick.
Line it up on a night that like
Yeah.
maybe there's a different show happening at either like the House of Blues or MGM that like wouldn't draw everything, but like even
Yeah.
if they're passing by, like
be
perfect scenario.
We'll probably open up for like an acoustic set and like
Probably.
a yacht rock band.
That would
Oh,
be
man.
awesome.
We
I've
played
been
with
saying
a lot of
bring
indie
mixed bills
bands.
back, just not that intense of a mixed bill, but
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm just curious as to why they thought you would be a good fit if
I mean,
everything
to be
else.
fair, our
was-
earlier stuff is a little more like
Yeah, it was like
rock-oriented.
psychedelic.
There wasn't crazy heavy stuff yet.
Right.
We
I
kind of
mean-
started off as like a stoner metalcore band,
okay.
like
Okay.
stoner
So that
rock.
can fit the like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you hear certain parts of the song Supernova, you'll be like, okay, this is like harder psychedelic rock.
yeah.
As compared to like if you listen to like our newer stuff like Muskeg, you're gonna be like, this is not the same band.
Yeah,
That's
they had
wild.
to have heard something that just was like. I mean, that's super cool though. I mean, like I'm sure that was like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd feel bad. Like if you like you kind of knew it was gonna happen with all the people that were out there. It's like
I feel
whatever, you know.
Nothing, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
I'm kind of proud of it, if
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
yeah.
I cleared
That,
the bar with just being like, that ends now, and they were like, what?
that
What do you
were like-
mean?
and you
And
were
then-
like,
oh.
just yeah, that's awesome
Anger can be more rewarding than applause.
for sure. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
get that tattooed
Absolutely.
on my throat.
Like knowing you like ruined their day, amazing.
Yeah,
That'll
ruined
make me
their
sleep
night.
at
I
night.
hope that they were out to see a dad rock cover band, and by the end of the night, they were at home, just like, well, my Friday night's ruined.
I don't know.
Yeah.
that band
I don't
ended
know
up
why
playing
we
set
went
next
out. That was
door
the worst
after.
They
time.
did. Yeah.
Exactly.
Imagine worrying about
Um,
oversaturating and you literally play next door the same night.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
That's
Number
insane.
4. Who are some of your favorite local bands right now? Each of you.
Well, I got my Cytokine shirt on right now. Love
Biggest
those
shout out
guys.
to Eric.
Yes.
Love of
Thank
my
you,
life.
Eric.
Yes. He's the one who actually got us to check you guys out and,
Mhm.
reach out to do this. So
Oh, sick. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I just booked a show with them up here in Maine.
Hell
fuck
yeah.
yeah. We
When
need to
is
get
it
on a
so
show
we
with
can-
both of you guys. for
I
sure.
haven't announced that yet, Ash. I can't tell you.
Goodness gracious. I'll get over it. But yeah,
Yep.
Eric is also my sound engineer for the shows I'm doing at Bad Burger, and he is amazing. He gets me through them. Like I'll just like be trying to ask him like what I can do for him, and he's like, "No, I got it. This, that, and the other," and he's phenomenal.
It's the sweetest guy
Yeah,
ever.
he's a great man.
hmm
How do you like Bad Burger? I haven't been there yet.
I personally love it.
Yeah,
The
awesome.
one thing is shows don't start till 9 because it is on Elm Street in Manchester. So that is meh, but it's the same time as Shasky and right down the street. You can get burgers during your show and all of that. It's a smaller stage. It's really just smaller place, but I genuinely love the atmosphere and everything like they're doing. Ian, who partially owns it, like he just wants to have as many shows there as he can. He wants to get the like scene like back up and going and such, and he's doing the right thing. I genuinely love it there. So if y'all want to play a show there, let's talk about it after the podcast.
Yeah,
Make it happen. Hell yeah.
my
Yeah.
my booking agency, North Beach Booking, has been interested in getting something together there. So yeah, we'll have to link up with you after this. Know what you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we've so my band Death's Hands play there, and it's a great venue, super cool. Like parking isn't too bad, like to get there and stuff like that. And then the inside's fun, burgers are good. Like we had a good time, so definitely worth playing there for sure. Yeah,
Derek, do
it's
you
a
want to
bla-
continue with
it's a
your
blast.
your
Yeah, we
favorite
just
one?
went on We Love Eric.
Yeah, a little rant.
tangent.
The podcasts are meant for tangents. I'm
course.
It's true.
convinced.
Exactly.
Oh man. Obviously Rose Lane's fucking killing it. We got Agador over here. They fucking rule. Tom being vocalist, obviously. And then our drummer's other band too, Knife Dance. They're
Hell
killing
yeah.
it. Fucking
Yeah.
amazing band. Such talented kids, all of them.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Culling from Worcester as well. Those are the homies. Those guys rule.
The boys right there.
I will mention humbly our friends in Lacoma,
Ooh, yes.
Lakoma. They're also from Ware.
Mhm.
They're just like harder rock. They're getting heavier.
Yeah, Josh has been doing his thing where they put all their songs on a whiteboard, right?
Hmm.
And he was like, "Which one of these do you consider metal?" They put a check mark next to some and erase the rest. We don't play those anymore. So
See.
they're only going metal from now on. So it'll
Yeah.
be sick to see them come around.
Fuck yeah!
They just killed their Palladium set.
I
the
wish I
other
was
night.
there. I'd work.
So happy for him.
So yeah, Lacoma, our homies in Green Street Fiends.
Mhm.
They're great. We love our homies in Vanta Black.
Oh yeah.
Dustin just got a bass made that's the size of like a school bus, and then he
Large.
played. It's like the biggest bass I've ever seen in person.
That's
Six
crazy.
Because
string
he's a
Thunderbird.
ridiculously strong man and doing
Yeah.
all the insane
Yeah.
things he is. Like, of course he
You
can
can
do that.
handle it.
He's just carrying a cello or a double bass around. It's crazy. So those are some of my shout outs.
Hmm.
Ian,
You guys kind of took all of mine. though.
All right, I want to hear about Pennsylvania. What you got going on out there? What do they
just
got going
work.
out there?
I'm here for work. I'm at mom's right now. She lives out here.
It's here to
Oh,
My
fight.
dog. Yeah.
he's here to riot.
You should just shout "Eagles suck" out the window and see how long it takes someone to.
Oh, it'll take me like 5 seconds to get marked out here.
You should
Yeah.
check if they grease the lampposts so that people don't climb them.
Yeah.
They probably do. There's either spikes or grease on them, probably on either or a combination of both.
That's all the
Goodness
cheese.
Porque no los dos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, we got
originally
greasy
from New
hands.
York, and when I went to college in Western Mass, I brought my sister and my cousin out, and they're just screaming in the middle of the bar about the Red Sox suck and everything. It's like, I know my place. I know when to not open my mouth, and this is the time that we need to shut up. And now we need to.
Yeah.
Get actually stabbed or shot.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
work at Bay State Medical Center proper. So like we
You have
will
to-
occasionally get the calls for lockdowns because like somebody will get shot and come in and they want to make sure that nobody else can enter or leave for a certain amount of time. And that's where you went to college. So welcome.
Yep, no, amazing.
I hope you had
worked-
a fantastic and safe experience.
I worked for Walgreens and at all of the like most inner
Oh,
city
no.
stores, and my best experience was just locking the door, turning around, and a guy's like holding me at knife point, and I just kind of laughed. I'm like, "There's a cop right there, my guy," and he just starts sprinting down the street, and the cop goes with him, and I'm just like, "All right, I'm going home. This is
Oh,
fine."
man.
I mean, being from this area, I've had a knife held to my ribcage before for things, and it's just like it desensitizes you. You're just like,
Yeah, it's fine.
no, I don't care.
Please do it.
I don't even have money either, so like I should be robbing
Exactly.
you.
And that's why I think I just like laughed and accepted it. It's like I can't really open the store back up. Here's what we got. But
Yeah, damn, that sucks. It's Walgreens. I mean,
yeah. It was a grand old time.
You want like
Not-
condoms or like Gildan t-shirts, like take it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally take whatever you want. I am not playing this game. My life is not worth that.
It's not worth that. No.
No.
Not even close.
But Ian,
He was-
other than every other band that was said, do you have any other favorite local bands?
So many.
Exactly.
I'm drawing a blank, to be honest.
What about
Bog?
Bog Rot?
Huh?
Do you ever listen to Bog Rot?
I haven't actually. I know we've played a show with them.
Oh,
but
I've seen them play. Bog Rot's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those dudes shred.
They do.
Amazing.
Name sounds cool. I haven't heard of them, but I'll have to check them out. That sounds fun. Nice. Next question. Can you tell us about your writing process, like kind of what comes first, and just kind of like how you guys kind of pull everything together and create a song?
I'd say most of it right now is kind of just we'll come up with a demo, send it to the guys, and they kind of put their spin on it and whatnot. A lot of the newer record. Oh, we got a record that we recorded, by the way.
Yes,
Nice.
we finally finished recording our
2
record
years later.
2 years into it.
Good timing on the plug.
Yeah. But so a lot of that we did with our producer, who is Tim Sullivan of Boundaries. He's been recording us.
Amazing. And
He had a lot of input on like more on the drum stuff. He did a lot of the bass stuff on that because we didn't have Tom yet. So
Mm.
Eric or whoever comes up with a riff will just throw that on a demo. Derek does a lot of the programming of the drums when we try and get a rough idea what we want the song kind of rising action to be, and we go from there.
Yeah, we
Nice.
all have access to a DAW. I use Reaper. I think Derek uses Reaper.
we all use Reaper.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, so we all have access to a DAW, and then we have a Google Drive, and we just throw it in the Google Drive and in the band chat. Hey, I wrote this riff or I wrote this song. Let me know what you think, and then that's how it kind of the creative process begins.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like that's like for us. I mean, I don't know how much you guys practice, if you practice weekly or whatever, but like my band doesn't really get the chance to practice super often. So like that's how our writing process is. It's the same thing. Like we pretty much just write riffs or write like full guitar demos. Like I'll just demo out a whole song myself, or Kyle will demo out a whole song himself. And then like it's pretty much kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, what do you guys think? And then like people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then sometimes we'll be like, oh, what if we just change this part or change this part? And we'll do some small tweaks. And then we send ours to our drummer. He records drums. He has like an electronic kit, and he has his kit in his basement, and he does the same thing, records that and kind of throws it in. And then we just kind of have like a rough demo of like guitar, bass, and drums. And then when we go to record, we just use that rough demo, go pretty much record over that. And then, I mean, a bunch changes when we record, but that's kind of the process that we do.
That you record over the demo to record.
Yeah.
We're very metronome heavy, and we have clicks on the in-ears. So when we record or when we play live, it's all metronome heavy. We're all listening to a click track with the beats per minute and everything.
So we do the same thing. So technically, when we do the demo, we have the click track in the background. So we have the click track with the recording there. We don't necessarily like play. Like usually what we will do is we'll go into the studio, we record drums first. So like there's the demo. So our drummer listens to the demo minus his drum parts, plays the drums, right? So then we have like drums. Our producer mixes and almost completely finishes the drums before we go in and record guitar. Then we'll go back like a couple weeks later, record guitar over his drums, and we won't listen to like the demo. We have the demo in the background just like muted, so that like if we need to pull up something for reference or whatever, or like a certain picking style or whatever that I'm playing. If I forget something, we have that kind of as reference. But we do play to a click. You know what I mean? So like when we record, we play to a click.
It's kind of similar to what we do. We did a lot of pre-production.
Mhm.
When we went to the studio, we kind of put them all blank back into the DAW, and then started recording over those, and then we'll reference the pre-pro, but then we kind of rebuild it when we're going.
But Tim
Same.
does drums last.
We do a little backwards. We do the drums last. We
That's
do everything
actually-
to MIDI drums.
That's becoming a lot more common.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can do it in any order you want, and I think the logic behind that is that the drummer's playing feels a little bit more organic and in tune with what the actual guitar he's playing along with is.
Yeah.
It can become a little sterile if you're just playing along to a click, no matter how nasty you are.
Steril's a good word for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can usually always listen to a song and like can tell if it was an actual drummer versus programmed. More.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
It is getting hard to notice, that's for sure.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
getting real good with those MIDI drums.
Yeah, things are getting pretty crazy. But yeah, like the one thing that like we try to do, we do something similar to that. We definitely do pre-production, but then like we also do a lot of post too and change a bunch of stuff at the end. But we'll usually bring in the demo, and then so we record with Evan Sammons, who's the drummer for Last Chance to Reason. I don't know if you know that band or not.
Yes. Wait.
yeah.
Wait.
What?
Hold on 1 second. Last Chance to Reason. They're involved with the guy from
The Contortionist.
Contortionist.
Yeah,
I
the-
love the Contortionist.
Yeah, so
for years.
So Mike Lassard is the lead singer of Last Chance to Reason and the Contortionist.
Oh,
So,
cool. Yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
I was like. I know they're involved somehow, but I didn't
Yeah.
remember because I've
Yeah.
been listening to the Contortionist for I don't even know,
Yeah.
probably like 10 years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, so if you know Last Chance to Reason, then you know how amazing the fucking drum parts are on that. Which so we record with Evan, and Evan's the drummer of Last Chance to Reason. So
Very cool.
yeah, so he has a whole process on how he does things, and he's one of the most amazing people I've ever seen record drums. This guy is a freaking like he knows every spot, how far the mic has to be, and like he does everything so quickly when we record drums. It's insane. Like it blows my mind. And like it's crazy. And he's just got like a really cool setup, and just the way he does things is very different, and he challenges you in a really cool way. And so that's why it's like his thing, his bread and butter is drums and recording drums. And I'm assuming that's why he does that first, is because he's just that good at it. So he likes to have like this base template of just like, this is what the drums are. Bam. I have this completely. And he literally tells you, like, you go in, you record drums, then you leave. You don't record anything else. You could be gone for a month, if like a month, and he'll just like mix those to perfection and then say like, come back in and you'll record guitar to that. And it's crazy. Like it's crazy how he kind of does that. But it's a fun process. I really like recording with him, and he definitely like challenges you when it comes to like songwriting and like just structuring things, you know, like because we come in with demos where we're like, yeah, this is how we hear it, and he's like, I hear it completely differently in this section, and then like
Ben does a lot of that too. He's
Yeah,
very.
and then-
No, go ahead.
yeah, exactly. Like it's cool to have someone that just like, oh well, I hear this verse as something completely different, or what we have a verse, he made a chorus, and then like so like we flip it around, we play it, and we're like, oh my god, this makes way more sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's like take this part and make a variation of it. He's like, I like what you have here, and you've got a really cool idea, but like let's try to make a couple variations of that and see if any of the variations work. Not that the part is crap. It's just that like he hears something and he wants to see if you can create it, you know? And it's just like, oh cool. So like on the spot, like you know, create a riff that's like a variation of either the riff or the chorus or the whatever you have. And like
A different one.
yeah, I was actually just having a conversation with someone the other day. There's 2 songs that 2 of my favorite parts in those songs are from him doing that and being like, write a variation of that riff. And I write the variation on the record. I'm like, that's my favorite part. you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's
Right
really-
here's important.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Right.
song takes on a shape when you're
Mhm.
writing it, and you can't imagine it any different. And it might not make sense to someone the first time you show it to them.
Right, exactly. And it's really cool. And like a lot of those times, like that's why I never loved the recording process until I started working with Evan. And then I started to understand the recording process. And then I really was like, oh my God, this is a lot of fun. You know, like it just
Something like clicks in you. Something happened for us too, because like we recorded our first EP in the closet behind Derek right now, and it's just like it was tedious. We didn't
Yeah.
really know what we were doing, and then we started working with Tim, and I think like probably like 3 or 4 sessions into it, just clicked in my brain, and I was like, oh, I get this whole thing completely now.
yeah.
The order
And
that
it-
we do things in makes sense. How we track certain things makes sense. Where we need to punch, just like
Mm-hmm.
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
and
cool.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go.
And that's what's cool about Tim is like coming from drums of Boundaries and then in Good Natured Knife Dance, like his brain set, like to do everything is just like so much different than everyone
He
else's.
was the perfect guy for the job, that's for sure.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
really a lot of these songs didn't feel like maybe they were cohesive to be in an album together, but
They're also, like,
the input he had really just tied it all and made it just it flows so good now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to kind of, like you said, like once it clicks for you, you really start to understand it. And then not only that, but like when the recording process clicked for me, I started to understand more things about my writing. You know what I mean? Like not like changing my writing, but like I don't know. It made me think more about how I write before I write music to then go and record.
Right.
It.
It makes you think about music differently because we're so used to listening to like a finished product, a very polished thing. So you don't have that glimpse behind the curtains of what it takes to produce the music. And now
Exactly.
you do. Now you've seen how the sausage is made and you're like, oh,
Right.
I can write music now.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I
exactly.
feel. Because like when I was writing lyrics and vocal parts for the album prior to working with Tim, I was like, this doesn't sound right, but I mean, it's how we've been playing it, so I guess we'll just go with it. And then Tim was like, that sounds like dog shit. Don't do that. And I was like, got it.
Noted.
Yeah. yeah. It's but like the cool thing is though is I would rather work with someone that tears my shit apart and makes me work harder to get a finished product that you're like, "Oh, okay, this is how it's supposed to sound." You know?
Absolutely agree.
Like and like Evan never says stuff is dog shit, but
I don't know if Tim said that exactly.
Okay.
Don't go on record being like,
Right,
"Tim
right,
calls
right,
dog
right,
shit."
right.
No, he's definitely
Right.
been like, don't do that again.
yeah. Evan
Finally.
yeah,
Don't.
the way Evan kind of words things is he very much like I don't even know how he really words it, but he's very specific on how he kind of manipulates things, and it's in a very good and like positive way for us at least. But there are times where it's like he specifically says like this doesn't work, like you know what I mean, like this doesn't work, like this
Yeah.
part doesn't work.
The whole middle part in Lesnick.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a whole like major key little proggy section going on, sounded kind of like happy and triumphant, and he's like, "This isn't even in scale. You can't use this."
Even there was a time Derek was outside and I was sitting
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Ian and I were sitting there with Tim, and he just hits the space bar and looks at us and he goes, "These are 2 different songs." And I was like, "We got to get Derek."
That's awesome.
He's just like, "We're gonna cut this song completely in half because these are 2 completely different songs." And I was like, "You know what? That's absolutely fair."
Yeah. That's cool. Well,
One's like
it's
Underoath in its prime, and the last bit's like this stoner rock just
Yeah,
trail off.
it literally went from Underoath to Muse, and he was just like, "No, statement,
No.
something else." And we were like, "Got it."
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Hey, but
Funny because it's the whole riff that like named the song.
yeah, that's cool though. I don't know. I like as someone who loves constructive criticism, like I would never take like offense to that. You know what I mean?
There's
Like
many
that.
yes men out there.
Yeah, as Tom said earlier, fresh ears hearing it and being like, no, this doesn't
Yeah.
work. But like
Yeah.
I've been hearing it the same way for 2.5 years, and I was like, this is just how the
Yeah.
song goes.
I mean, just going
Right.
over the songs the other day, some of those ones I was like super stoked on. You guys are just like, yeah, those are just riffs. And it's like,
yeah, it's riff salad.
oh,
But to be
Man.
fair, I wrote most of one of those songs, and I was like, yeah, it is just riff salad. It does
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. It
I love
happens.
it.
It happens.
Well,
Jam
sometimes.
band.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. That's Kyle, my guitar player. That's how he writes. He just like writes songs that are just riff after riff after riff after riff after riff. And I'm like, Kyle, it literally sounds like we're on a non-ending freight train. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like there's no breaks, there's no choruses, it's just like it's fucking riff to riff and I'm like every riff sounds awesome. but
Yeah, that's the hardest part is being like, I love like talking to Derek. Derek will be like, oh, I got this new riff, and I'm like, I love this riff. These two riffs together don't work together, and I'm
Right.
sorry.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was
And
in a
it's like-
band before this where the guitarist would write like, I'm not even joking, 6-7 minute tracks, and I'd have to be like, dude, this riff is dope. I don't need to hear it 64 times
right
over.
in 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
like,
love
no.
it. We can condense this to 3 minutes and it's a song.
I guess that was
Yeah.
another good thing that Tim did for us because when we had this album written, it was like an hour and 8 minutes long for 11 songs.
Mhm.
We cut it down to 43.
That's
That's
insane.
a lot of fat.
There was a lot of fat,
Yeah.
but that was the
Yeah.
stoner rock influence with me. I was like, okay, everything needs to repeat 4 times. We need to make
Right.
the third one different because blues.
Right. But I think that's the funnest part about writing and recording is just the different ebbs and flows that things go through, the different ears that it shifts through over time. Like, and it just at the end, I mean, and I mean, there are some songs that we've recorded that like at the end of the day, like I don't think were great, but you know, it might sound like a polished product at the end, right? And it's like, oh, everything sounds good, everything's in place or whatever. But sometimes they're just songs that are like, yeah, this is like an okay song to play. It's not my most favorite, you know. But then there's other songs that like I know that, you know, for us aren't like we don't think they're that great, but there are other people that are like, oh my god, we love this specific song, and you're like, oh, that's my least favorite that we've done. Like, you know what I mean? So
That's how making
know.
art is,
Right.
man. You're gonna
Yeah.
hate you're gonna hate
Right.
a lot of the stuff that you do, and
Yeah.
someone's gonna be like, I love this.
It took 2 years to record the album, which means that that's 2 years right there. And some of these songs were probably written a year or more before even going
Yeah.
into the studio. So
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
some of them were ready,
Yep.
but we're psyched. Don't get me wrong, we're fucking psyched on
I'm
them.
psyched on the album, but like there's some songs people like they're like, oh my god, I love this, and I'm like, I have heard this song
yeah,
in a week's time. I've probably listened to this track 4 times and picked out all of the errors that we've made, and I'm like,
right.
all right, we'll play it.
That's all that can also be a little bit of a killer. We had I think it was on the newest EP that we had some of those songs for a while, and once we put them on, like it kind of diminished like my love. Once we put them out, I was like, I don't really care. Like at this point, like
Fair
it
enough.
took too long. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Too
Yeah,
long.
just like
It's-
but then
Yep.
but then once you play it and people start to hear it a little bit more and like you know you get more comments on it, then it's like it's kind of rekindles that for me on some songs. But yeah, and it's hard, the recording. It sucks when you when you wait a little long on certain things and you're like, wow, this is kind of underwhelming because we've been playing this for 3 years. You know what I mean? But like whatever,
I
it
think
happens.
one of my favorite conversations, because I like that you're saying this as the vocalist. Are you a vocalist that's able to articulate what you do not like in a song by others and can explain that? Or is it more so, I don't like it?
It's a really good question. So there are certain vocal parts that I have gone back and looked on and been like, I don't like how this was written vocally. I have dwindled down a lot of what I've written because obviously we've cut down a lot of the songs, but I have
Song lyrics used to be like,
I have a tendency to write what they call novels. And from the band's perspective, it's like I don't know if I can speak for all of them in saying that there are certain parts of songs or there are certain songs where we don't enjoy it in the songwriting process. But as a vocalist, there are certain things that I look back on in this album where I'm like, I could have done this differently. I could have done this differently. And it's very tough to just, Derek had to talk me through being like, it's got to get to a point where it's good enough that we can record it, and you got to let go of the perfectionism.
Yeah.
So that's probably a lot of it, is like letting go of our perfectionism collectively.
Yeah.
I didn't write a song until I was 27 because of that.
Mhm.
You're writing a riff and you're like, well, that doesn't sound like the band I'm going for or whatever. You're like, that's not good enough. I can't even use that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think it was Dave we were practicing together with Meanie and like, let's just doesn't matter what it is. Let's just figure out a song structure and just plug some shit in.
Yeah.
And just learning to let go and just, okay, that's good. Let's just run with it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So
yeah, for sure. And I feel like in the writing process too, like you were saying, like it's fine to overwrite, right? Like it's fine to just like we do the same thing when we do riffs or we write songs. It's like, okay, cool. This is gonna go 4 times. This is gonna go 4 times. This is gonna go 6 times. This is gonna go this, right? Like we overwrite because we know it's going to be cut shorter, or we know that parts are going to move, right? Or we know that X, Y, or Z is going to happen, you know? So like, I think you're right. Like you kind of have to have an idea in your head where you're like, I'm just doing a rough draft. Like, right. I mean, maybe some people go in and they're like, they write a song and they're like, this is exactly how the song is going to sound. And like, it turns out being that's exactly how the song is when they record, you know? But for us, at least, yeah, exactly. But like for us, like we write knowing that like there's probably going to be a variation of one of these riffs. We're probably going to cut this down. We're probably going to do this. There's probably going to be synth added to this. There's going to be a fucking shotgun sound randomly in this, you know, like who knows, right? Like whatever. But like I feel like if the best way to kind of push your art is just to be open and understand that like you're always going to critique your art even when it's finished, right? Like no matter like how many processes or how many things you go through or you know how many edits you go through, whatever it is, it's never, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. And it might be, maybe sometimes you get lucky and a decent amount of the time things come out great. But I feel like in the writing process, at least for me and how we look at it as a band, it's just easier to just be like, we are doing a super rough sketch of what this song is going to be like. And like, hopefully we get to, you know, the closest part of a finished song once it's recorded and it's done. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, you need to be confident and just have fun in the whole process. I think that's one of the cool things is just like going from that rough draft to your final edit and you're like, sounds good to me. It might not be perfect. Like there's probably things that could be changed, but if you're working with a fun producer and they push you in a great direction and you're happy with what you're doing and the producer feels happy, like I feel like that's the finished product that you were supposed to have, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you look back on something and you're like, it's perfect, you're probably arrogant because if you can't listen to something and not find something that you're like, well, we could do this different, because then you're just not looking to get better, you know?
Right. I have listened to our record, the whatever it is before pre-mix, in my car. I'm gonna guess 100 times, and every time I listen through it, I'm like, fuck.
Right.
There's something else.
And then the rational part of me is like, people are gonna like it. They like your music. They like you. You are loved. You are accepted. And then the artist part of me is like, this is awful.
No one notices you were late on that measure. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not gonna fucking know. The opposite of taking acid. They're not gonna fucking know, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely. I think writing and recording together. I think I have a love for both now. That like I always had a love for writing and creating, but now I think I have like a pretty solid love of both, and they very much go hand in hand. Like it's like
Mhm.
I never really thought about it that way to begin with, but now that I've gone through and I've written with some people who have more of a mature writing process, I think like I've figured that out. And then obviously working with a producer who like I love, and obviously you guys really enjoy working with the producer that you have, which is I think an integral part of the whole process in general. So that's really good that you guys feel like you have someone that you're like really happy with, that knows kind of what you're trying to do. That's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep that old school metalcore sound in a little bit of a modern setting.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's super awesome.
Awesome. That brings us to our final question, number 5 or 6. What's
Yeah.
next for the Flood?
Well, releasing the album, that's for sure. We've been only talking about it forever now. I
Yeah.
feel like every show, we're going to be putting out an album in a couple months. We're going to put out an album in a couple months.
And then something happens in one of our lives, or Tim goes on tour.
And yeah,
Yeah, that
So-
must be going around his schedule. Must be actually insane.
yeah.
We've been very patient. This has been a big test of our patience.
Yeah,
And
I don't think
dedication.
I would ever do an album again just for the fucking time that gets put into it. You just constantly working on it. I feel like we just need to put something out.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I mean, I think what
Not
Derek's saying
rushing
is
it,
that we're
but-
not rushing to do another album, but we
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
putting out music.
EP, EP,
Never
1,
doing
2,
music
3
again.
songs, something like
Yeah.
that.
I think yeah. So I think what's-
monetarily, like it's a huge dump that you got to be ready for, a huge time dump that you got to be ready for. It's just go in the studio, bang something out in a weekend.
So I think what's next for us is getting the album out, and then we're might be a spoiler, but we're working on some heavier stuff, even heavier than what we have right now. So
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
our next EP is probably going to be slightly angrier and slightly more punchy than what people remember.
Nice.
Good
Nice.
shit.
Pungent.
Pungent.
Angry. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like every time we try to record something, we try to one up ourselves in some department. You know what I mean? Whether it's like, like this next record that we're working on is like we're adding more synth and it's going to be heavier. It's actually two things, but it's like I always feel like I don't know. It's nice to just kind of like pick something that you do and just go like, yeah, we want to change this, but still keep our sound, or we want to do this or still keep our sound, but like just try to one up yourselves to just challenge yourself. I think that's the one thing that we try to do is like still keep our sound, but challenge ourselves in some way to make it either heavier or, a little bit more electronic with synth driven or, whatever, you know what I mean? Just like something to kind of like change it up a little bit. But
I mean, that's what I've been kind of challenging myself on lately is doing all these backing tracks and stuff. Like when we recorded the EP songs that, well, they're on the album too, but when we recorded them, Tim was like, we should throw some synth in this part. And I was like, no.
Yeah, we
No
had,
way.
we had to drive.
always.
It's like, no, we're old school metalcore, just guitars, bass, drums, vocals. That's all we need.
Nope.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it kinda grew on me and I caught the bug, and now I'm
And now
fucking
you have a
going
MIDI
nuts.
keyboard.
I have a MIDI keyboard.
Hell yeah. That's exactly what you need to have, because
Yeah.
everybody knows that MIDI keyboards are awesome.
Say ours is probably in sight too.
Yeah.
We got these little things. I even wrote little
Hell yeah.
Let's
the
go.
notes on them so I could learn the
Yeah, and
notes.
PK Mini, sick.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
That one's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's I feel like, 'cause, I mean, like we're more of a metalcore, deathcore type band. We're not like your modernish deathcore. That's not what we are. But we're like we're like a metalcore, deathcore ish band, and I love synth. So if you guys add more like just anything in the background, I'm totally down with that shit.
I've been using like Under Oath's Lost in the Sound of Separation and Bring Me the Horizons, There's a Hell as kind of my synth inspiration. A little bit of
Nice.
Dead Throne from Devil Wears Prada too, like that era, and like the way they're able to capture such like a lonely, desperate feeling. in
Yeah.
their backtracks is like something I've been really trying to put
Yeah,
into ours as well.
I think I like that Derek does it as a supplement and not it's a standalone instrument.
It's
in a
very
song.
minimalist. It's not in the foreground at
It's
all.
minimalist,
Right.
but I still
Yeah.
got 8 synths going on at once.
No,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying,
insane,
but we're
the
saying
effects
that
are
like
minimalist.
Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
example, I love like Disembodied Tyrant and
Yeah.
and what they're doing, Synestia, but like a lot of the they'll put the synth right in the foreground and you're just
Very,
like
very
it's
forward.
like
Well,
that's the
yeah.
modern, as you were saying, it's like the modern
Yeah, that's
deathcore
how I
kind of
felt when I
thing.
saw Chelsea Grin last. It was like starts with a sample, ends with a sample, starts with a sample, ends with a sample. It's like, can you
Yeah.
go into another song without
Right.
like playing something in between?
I would just
Yeah.
like to have it as he does it, where it's just like a supplement to what we're doing, like the classic
Yeah.
kind of deathcore things, like old. I don't even know. Like I know Lorna Shore does that now, but like early
Yeah.
Lorna Shore, so like Bone Kingdom and shit, where you have the synths in the background.
Right.
Chef's kiss. Like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. There's like there's some parts in us where in some of our songs where there are some synth heavy parts, but we're pushing them forward to either accent or something we're doing on guitar, or you know what I mean? Like, so it's like
Right,
just to
right.
give it that little bit. And then there's some parts in there that are definitely like a little bit more on the forefront, but in the recording, they're not. Like if you took all the guitars away, there's synth parts that you would never hear in our songs. You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah.
And that's kind of the point, is like just to either accent or the thing I want at least for our band is to sound a little more full, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, so
fill in those gaps.
exactly. It's like, because like depending on your guitar tones, if guitar players can get their guitar tones where it sounds wide, because that, and I think I've said this on the podcast a million times, the best compliment I can get is when someone comes up and is like, oh my God, you guys sound like you literally fill the whole room. Like you guys are so heavy. Like, and I don't mean heavy like, your riffs are heavy. I mean like we play a room and they're like, holy
Weight
shit.
to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like they feel it on their shoulders, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, that's what I feel like the synth parts bring. You know what I mean? It's just like, I
Yeah.
feel like they fill that extra space and that extra void to make you sound a little bit bigger than you really are, and like that's the feel I want from it. I don't want it to be like, you hear all the synths over the guitars and it's
Right.
just like super like I don't.
Like, you don't even want to be able to tell that it is a synth.
Exactly. And it's like there's sometimes where you do if it's a lead part, but other than that, like you don't, right? You just want
Right.
it to fill that space to give you that extra push. And that's so
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I feel like you guys are on the same page.
Pianos and cello kind of stuff. Like,
Pianos, cello.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I personally love piano, but
piano sounds great. The one I found for the album is,
chef's kiss, like I
I
said.
Yeah.
love it, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like a piano coming out of like space.
That's
I don't know how to explain it.
that's awesome. Nice. Cool. Well, I'm super excited to hear that. That'll be fun. Hopefully it'll be out soon.
I'm thinking
Soon with a question mark.
Yeah,
Perfect.
One
it's
question
in
mark.
mixing stages right now. Everything's done recording. We're just doing a little bit of backtracks and mixing, and hopefully
Cool.
have some math mixed by the end of.
Let's
next
not give
month.
any timelines.
I don't feel like we should do.
The last 3 times I've given timelines have been broken, so
Oh my god!
It's been bad.
soonish.
So
This year, at
soonish.
least.
Prepare yourself for in the future at some point between now and the end of time. We will put out an album and it will be glorious.
Perfect.
We'll all be there.
Okay.
Wait.
That's
All
awesome.
encompassing.
That's awesome. Oh man. Well, awesome guys. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Really fun podcast. That's all the questions we have for tonight.
I do have shows coming up because
Oh,
Bad
yes.
Burger just so happens to be having shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Ooh,
So Friday at Bad Burger, it is Gloom State, FFO Chillin', DHS, and TFR. On Saturday, it is actually my show that I'm putting on, which is Gutted Twice, which if you know who Eyes Preston is, they are sadly no longer a band, but Gutted Twice is the new project.
Nice.
So it's Gutted Twice, No Soul, Stand Abandoned, Split in Half, and Graveborn. And then Sunday is Voluntary Victim, Resistor, and Iron Gate, which are 3 bands I
Hey.
love.
Shout out to
Resistor's-
Dan.
Shout out to Iron Gate, our
Iron
buddy
Gate,
Todd.
Shout out to Todd.
Todd.
Yeah,
If
Chance
anyone
actually,
sees Todd at that show, try to lift him off the ground.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send
Good
it.
luck.
Like, what is
Right on the
happening?
face.
Yeah, kiss him on the
Yeah.
face and then try to lift him. He's made of dark matter. He's actually the weight of 1,000 dead suns.
That's
I don't understand.
Got it.
That's
I guess
awesome.
there's a reason he's called Iron Todd, right?
Yeah, Iron Todd.
Iron Todd. Not Alter Todd. All the different.
Yeah.
That's funny. Nice. Well,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Those,
You're
those
sick.
In fact, we
Resistor
actually
is
played,
amazing.
The first show with Alter in our hometown.
Yeah, we broke their we broke their cherry in our hometown
Nice.
when he was an altar.
Yeah.
Altar of Nex.
Amazing.
nice. That's sick.
But
Yeah,
thank you
we-
guys for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've
Thank you for
great
being on the show.
Yeah. Ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be excited to hear when the album comes out again in the nearish future. So that'll be fun. And I'll definitely have to try to catch you guys on some shows. I might even hit you guys up about playing up a show up here if you guys are interested. So
So
I'll,
we haven't breached New Hampshire yet, so
Or
Yeah, get us
Maine.
up
Yeah.
or
there.
Maine. So
We
Yeah.
gotta do both. We're both gonna hit you up for shows.
well,
do.
you're probably gonna hear from me in like a week or so. So we'll just say that right now. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you coming on. Really fun having this conversation. A lot of cool things, especially with the writing process and just kind of recording. It's really cool to hear how other people kind of work through things and their processes. So really appreciate you guys sharing that and spending the
thanks
time
for
with us.
having us, man.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks again. And that's the end of episode 24. And we'll catch you guys on the next one, next episode 25. All right.
Awesome. Have a good
Take
night.
it easy.
See you guys. Have a great night.